If you gave yourself just 7 days, 7 honest, unfiltered, soul-shaking days, you could rewrite the entire direction of your life. Not someday. Not after everything calms down, this week. Right now. Let me begin with a truth many people run from. Your life doesn't change in years. It changes in weeks. Weeks filled with small, brave moments stacked on top of each other like quiet, powerful bricks. Moments that don't look dramatic from the outside, but feel like earthquakes inside your chest. This week, I want you to practice something terrifying, radical self-honesty. Not the polite kind. Not the filtered kind. I'm talking about the kind that burns a little when you say it out loud. The kind that exposes where you've been shrinking, where you've been settling, where you've been pretending you're fine, while your heart whispers, I deserve more. For 7 days, commit to telling yourself the unedited truth about what you want, about what's hurting you, about who drains you, about where you've abandoned your own needs to keep the peace. Because life doesn't fall apart when we tell the truth. Life begins when we finally stop lying to ourselves. This week is not about perfection. It's about awareness. Awareness is what flips the switch inside you. Awareness is what makes you say, I'm done surviving and ready to start living. Awareness is what forces you to see your patterns, not to shame you, but to free you. 7 days, 7 truths, 7 choices that could shift your entire life. If you truly want this week to change your life, then here's the next step. Create one boundary that scares you a little. Not a dramatic explosion, not a speech, not a war, just one clear line that protects your energy, your dignity, and your peace. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. And this week, I want you to close the door on something that has been quietly draining your strength. Maybe it's the friend who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's the family member who confuses access with entitlement. Maybe it's the coworker who assumes your kindness equals availability. Or maybe, and this is the hardest one, it's the version of you that apologizes for things you didn't even do wrong. For 7 days, practice one sentence. That doesn't work for me anymore. Say it gently. Say it firmly. Say it without guilt, without justification, without shrinking. You're not being rude. You're being responsible, because every time you say yes, while your entire body screams no, you abandon yourself a little. And 7 days of choosing yourself, even once, can shift the entire architecture of your life. This week isn't about hurting anyone. It's about healing you. It's about teaching the world how to treat you by showing them how you treat yourself. And here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Your life changes the moment your boundaries become non-negotiable. This week, protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. This week, I want you to reconnect with something you've probably ignored for too long, your own body's truth, not your stress-trained mind, not the version of you shaped by survival, not the script you've repeated because life demanded it. I'm talking about the truth your body whispers before your mind talks you out of it. For 7 days, listen to the signals you keep overriding. When your chest tightens around someone, that's not overreacting. When your stomach drops during a conversation, that's not being sensitive. When your shoulders tense walking into a room, that's not being dramatic. Those sensations are data. They're warnings. They're wisdom. They're your inner compass trying to protect you. But we learn to numb it, minimize it, dismiss it with phrases like, I'm probably imagining it. I don't want to make a big deal. It's not that serious. This week, it is serious because your body speaks first. Your peace is felt first. Your danger is sensed first. For 7 days, pause when your body reacts. Don't explain it away. Don't negotiate with it. Don't silence it to keep the atmosphere comfortable. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me right now? Where have I ignored this feeling before? What would happen if I trusted this message instead of denying it life? Changing clarity doesn't always come in words. Sometimes it comes in sensations. When you learn to honor those signals, you stop walking back into rooms you were meant to walk away from. You stop justifying behaviors your soul knows are wrong. You stop betraying your own intuition. This week, trust the truth that lives inside your skin. This week, I want you to do something that feels almost rebellious in a world obsessed with noise, sit in silence with yourself for 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, no scrolling, no distractions, just you, raw, unfiltered, unprotected. Why silence? Because silence is where truth finally speaks. So many people avoid stillness because they're terrified of what will rise in it. The grief they've buried, the exhaustion they've ignored, the dreams they abandoned, the resentment they swallowed, the loneliness they pretend they don't feel. Silence reveals what noise helps us hide. For 7 days, give yourself 10 minutes to stop running, sit, breathe. Let everything inside you settle like dust in a quiet room. You might feel uncomfortable at first, restless, emotional, maybe even scared. That's normal. Discomfort is the doorway to clarity, and clarity is what shifts your life. In silence, you'll start to notice truths you've brushed aside, the relationship that no longer feels safe, the dream that still lives in your chest, the guilt that isn't yours to carry, the strength you keep forgetting you have, the tenderness you've hardened to survive. Silence brings you face with your real self, not the edited version you present to the world, but the one who's been whispering, please, don't forget about me. 10 minutes a day, 7 days. That small pocket of stillness can reset your mind, soften your heart, and reconnect you to the person you were before life hardened you. This week, I want you to practice something most people avoid until life forces them into it: forgiving yourself. Not the soft, poetic version people post online, the real, gritty, uncomfortable kind that makes you face the moments you wish you could erase. For 7 days, I want you to release one piece of self, blame you've been dragging like a chain. Maybe you stayed longer than you should have. Maybe you trusted someone who wasn't worthy. Maybe you ignored the red flags because hope felt safer than truth. Maybe you betrayed your own boundaries just to feel loved for a moment. And maybe you've punished yourself enough. Self-forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about acknowledging that you were doing the best you could with the emotional tools you had at the time. You weren't weak. You were human. You weren't naive. You were hopeful. You weren't foolish. You were loving. For 7 days, replace the sentence, I should have known better, with, I understand why I did what I did. You don't heal by tearing yourself apart for old mistakes. You heal by treating your past self with compassion instead of cruelty. Because here's the truth: you cannot build a new life while clinging to the version of you who didn't know what you know now. Every day this week, offer yourself one moment of grace. Write it, whisper it, repeat it. Let it soften the tightness in your chest that comes from carrying blame that was never meant to be permanent. Forgiving yourself is not weakness. It's emotional bravery. It's growth. It's how you make space for the life you're trying to create. This week, I want you to rebuild something the world quietly steals from us: your sense of worthiness, not the loud performative, I'm confident mask. I mean the deep, quiet, internal belief that you deserve good things without earning them through suffering. For 7 days, I want you to practice one act of self, worth every single day. Not self-care, self-worth. There's a difference. Self-care is comforting. Self-worth is confronting. Self-care soothes your wounds. Self-worth stops you from allowing people to wound you in the first place. So this week, choose one daily action that proves to you that you matter. Eat a meal slowly instead of rushing like you don't deserve time. Walk away from a conversation that belittles your value. Speak up once when you normally stay silent to avoid tension. Dress in a way that makes you feel alive instead of invisible. Tell someone, I need space, when your energy feels threatened. Say no without explaining. Say yes to something you've always felt unworthy of receiving. Each small action is a vote for the person you're becoming, because you don't wake up one day suddenly confident. You build confidence through evidence. Evidence that you refuse to abandon yourself. Evidence that you are done shrinking. Evidence that you are choosing a life that reflects your worth, not your wounds. And here's the truth many people never learn: self-worth is not a personality trait. It's a daily practice. 7 days of treating yourself like someone who matters will change how you walk, how you speak, how you love, how you allow others to treat you. This week, choose you with intention, not by accident. This week, I want you to reclaim something powerful that life, people, and pain often take from you: your ability to dream again. Not the practical dreams, not the realistic goals people tell you are acceptable. I mean the quiet dreams, the ones you buried because someone once rolled their eyes, laughed, dismissed you, or convinced you that wanting more was too much. For 7 days, you're going to let yourself imagine a life that pulls you forward instead of one you're simply surviving. Here's what most people don't realize: you don't lose your dreams. You hide them under responsibility, under fear, under exhaustion, under other people's expectations, under years of putting yourself last. This week, I want you to take one dream back out of hiding. Write about it. Picture it. Talk to yourself about it like it's real. Let your heart feel it without shutting it down for being unrealistic, because dreaming isn't childish. Dreaming is oxygen for the soul. When you stop dreaming, you stop expanding, you stop growing, you stop becoming. For 7 days, ask yourself, what do I want more of in my life? What did younger me hope for? What have I convinced myself is too late? What lights something in me that life hasn't been able to kill? And listen, your dream doesn't need to make sense to anyone but you. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need to be understood. It only needs to be felt. Because the moment you let yourself dream again, hope returns, energy returns, direction returns, you return. This week, give your future a place to land. This week, I want you to rebuild something that slowly fades without us even noticing: your courage to take small, imperfect action. Not the big leaps, not the dramatic life changes, not the new chapter announcements. I'm talking about the quiet, shaky steps that reshape your life from the inside out. For 7 days, I want you to do one brave thing every day, something slightly uncomfortable, slightly uncertain, but absolutely aligned with who you want to become. Because here's the truth: your life isn't transformed by the moments you feel ready. It's transformed by the moments you move before you feel ready. Do something each day that stretches you just a little, send the message you've been avoiding. Begin the project you've convinced yourself you're unqualified for. Say the hard truth you've swallowed for months. Start the habit you've postponed until tomorrow. Tell someone how you actually feel instead of hiding behind politeness. Apply for the thing you think is out of your reach. Ask for the help you pretend you don't need. Bravery doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. For 7 days, trade perfection for progress. Trade fear for movement. Trade doubt for one small step forward. Because small steps accumulate. They stack. They build momentum. They generate confidence. They create a version of you that feels unstoppable, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And here's the most important truth of this entire week: bravery grows through repetition. The more often you choose courage in small moments, the easier it becomes to choose it when life demands something bigger. This week, I want you to repair something sacred, something life can easily distort when you've been hurt, ignored, or taken for granted your relationship with your own voice. For 7 days, I want you to practice speaking from a place of truth instead of fear. Because somewhere along the way, you may have learned to silence yourself to stay safe, to stay liked, to stay accepted. And every time you swallowed your truth, a piece of you dimmed. This week is about reclaiming that light. Your voice matters. Your needs matter. Your discomfort matters. Your no matters just as much as your whys. For 7 days, say the things you normally mute. I'm not okay with that. I need support, not criticism. That hurt me. I disagree, and that's allowed. I'm tired of carrying this alone. This is what I need right now. This is what I deserve. These aren't confrontations. They're corrections. They're adjustments that realign your life was your truth instead of other people's expectations. Your voice is not the problem. The places where it wasn't valued were the problem. And here's the truth you need to hear. Every time you silence yourself to protect someone else, you lose a little of who you are. But every time you choose your voice, even trembly, even unsure, you reclaim yourself. This week is not about shouting. It's not about arguing. It's not about proving anything. It's about honoring your inner authority. It's about speaking from a place of self-respect. It's about letting your words match your worth, because when your voice rises, your life rises with it. This is the final piece of your 7-day transformation, embracing the power of presence and gratitude. For 7 days, I want you to notice the moments you usually overlook, the small victories, the soft joys, the quiet courage you displayed, the breaths you took when you wanted to scream. Most of us live in a fog of not enough, always chasing the next thing, always waiting for something bigger, something better. But life, the real, fierce, unfiltered life, happens in these tiny, overlooked moments. For 7 days, practice this at the end of each day. Name 3 things you did, felt, or experienced that mattered. It doesn't have to be monumental. It could be as simple as you set a boundary, you said the truth, you took a walk, you forgave yourself, you held a hand, you dared to dream. Because here's the secret the world won't tell you. Gratitude doesn't just remind you of what you have. It rewires you for courage, clarity, and joy. When you recognize the value in your small acts, you start to see your life as the accumulation of your own strength and choices. By the end of this week, something remarkable happens. You realize the person who has been waiting for rescue was you all along. You've given yourself permission to show up, to be honest, to heal, to dream, to act, to love yourself fiercely. You've shifted patterns that once felt permanent, and in doing so, you've reclaimed the life you thought might have slipped away. 7 days, 7 intentional practices, 7 ways of showing up for yourself. That is enough to start a ripple that changes everything: your thoughts, your actions, your relationships, and the trajectory of your life. The life you want isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It begins now, right here, right in this week you just claimed,